Hello friends, welcome to my channel Rocky Mountain Gardens, and if you're new here, my name is Mary and I live in Colorado, and my channel is all about garden and home, making your whole living space a beautiful and warm place to stay in, especially these days when we're staying home so much of the time. So today actually is Flipping Friday. And Jamie from Board or Bananas hosts a little collaboration every third Friday of the month called Flipping Friday, and that gives us a chance to share with you some lovely makeovers of things that we are changing to fit our decor. And so let me show you, I shared this with you in a thrift haul recently. This is a Lazy Susan that I am going to make over today and share with you about how I do that. So that's one item I'll be flipping. And my other item I'm really excited about. This is a clock that my Aunt Marie gave to me. It was made by Seth Thomas. I haven't done research on it yet to see about how old it is, but I have never liked this sort of reddish orange color of the case of the clock, and so I am going to be changing this, making it over, and I hope it will go in my decor so much better when I'm done. Now let's go into my kitchen where I do a lot of my painting on my kitchen island, and we'll start working on these makeovers. The first thing that I am doing for these two items is washing them down with a rag that is using water and Dawn detergent to help me get any grime off of both the pieces. And next I'm going to do some sanding. As you can see, I did have some damage to this clock to the finish, and it also had a little bit of a shiny finish, so I wanted to get that toned down a bit so the paint would adhere much better. And then after sanding, we move on to a damp rag with just water, using this as what is called a tack cloth, and that helps you to really capture all the dust from the sanding, getting it off your item so that it will be ready for painting. Now I'm beginning my first coat of this black chalk paint, and I am using the Waverly ink color. I will be giving 2 coats of black to my clock, and the arrow here will show you a spot where I had to patch with some wood putty, and I've already sanded that down, hopefully as flat as possible. And besides the black on my clock, I will be giving 1 coat of black to the Lazy Susan that you see here. And I'm going to do that because I want to distress, after I paint it with white, I want to distress and have that black come on through the distressing. Here you can see I'm using a very fine small brush to do the detail work on my clock. I didn't remove the clockworks from the case because I was a little afraid of that, and I didn't want to do any damage to the working of the clock itself. And here you can see I've got everything with 1 coat of black, the first coat, and as I said, I'll be doing another coat on my clock. And here you can see a close-up of it, and it's going to be ready for some sanding and some distressing. So here I am starting the distressing with my sandpaper, and I want some of the brown from the original finish on the clock to come on through, to be peeking through and give it a little bit more aged and vintage look. Now, after wiping down my clock and getting the dust off from the distressing, I am going over it with this wax. It's a cream wax made by Deco Art, and the color is called Deep Brown. And I'm just painting it on. It's a little bit sort of gel-like, painting it on and then wiping away the excess. And I want to leave some of the brown, of course, showing on the distressed areas, and then also in the creases or the little and crannies of the piece of furniture. So here you can see I'm using this little scraping tool, and I need to get another one. As you can see, it's pretty, it's well used and well loved, but this is great for scraping paint off glass. It does a good job. Next, I am buffing the wax that I put on the clock earlier and giving it sort of a little bit of a sheen. We don't want it to be too much. I don't like super shiny. It takes away that vintage look. And lastly, I'm screwing in the hinges on my clock door, and I'm going ahead and getting them all tightened up, and there it is. Now moving on to my Lazy Susan, you can see I'm putting the first coat of white on this object, this item. And after the first coat, I did a second coat on top of it, letting it dry, of course, in between. And before I do my next job, which is actually to do a stencil on this, I am first going to coat it with one coat of this Minwax polyacrylic. It does a fantastic job. And guys, if you're ever doing any stenciling, using this first allows you, if you make a great big mistake on your stenciling, you can go ahead and erase it with a wet cloth and start over. Now here I'm distressing the edges of my Lazy Susan and bringing out the black that I did below the two layers of white. So you have to press, a little bit hard, and I was being a little careful. I didn't want to go overboard with the distressing, but I did want it to look aged some. Now, after the distressing, I did go back over the entire piece with this finishing grade steel wool pad. It is called 4/0 steel wool. Aught meaning zeros, 4 zeros, which is the finest steel wool for the final smoothing out everything. And then we're going to go ahead and get started on the stenciling. And this is the stencil I am using. It was a little bit different type of stencil. It actually had an adhesive that helped it stick to the Lazy Susan, but it also acted sort of like a silk screen. So when I show you the finished product, you're going to see that it looks a little heavier, I guess, of a stencil than I imagined it would be. And I didn't love that a ton, I guess you might say. It was a little bit, as you can see here, it was a little thick on the letters. So I did do some further distressing on the letters with my sandpaper to make it look a little bit less heavy on those letters. And that, I think, is helping it be more the way I wanted it to look. Otherwise, I like the stencil a lot. It's very vintage looking with the coffee for 15 cents. Now, lastly, I'm doing 2 more coats of the polyacrylic on the top and over the stencil, and that is in order to protect it, because I do plan to use this on a table and put things on it, and so I don't want the letters of my stencil chipping off through use. And so 2 coats of polyacrylic, And the last thing I did, guys, is I actually used that same Deco Art cream wax on it. And as you can see here in this photo, it looks a little aged, and that's from the dark brown cream wax that I put on top of it. And I actually wiped it on and then wiped it off, just to give it a little bit more of an aged look, like I said. And here is a little vignette using my 2 makeovers. And I wanted to say, guys, I have 2 things. Please go ahead and look down below in my description box for the playlist for this Flipping Friday collaboration. And you can also find in that description box my entire playlist for fall, which is called Every Fall Leaf. And there's going to be a link for that playlist as well in my little description box below. And lastly, I also wanted to invite you to subscribe again. And also, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and like my video. It really helps out my channel, and I sure do appreciate all of you out there who are stopping by and watching my videos. And I really enjoy hearing from you in the comments as well. So don't be shy about leaving a comment so that I can answer any questions you may have about how I did this. And lastly, guys, I want to recommend my friend Ginger Chick Rehab to you. Her name is Yvonne, and some of the steps that I did here today I learned by watching her videos. So there will be a link in my description box also for Ginger Chick Rehab, the YouTube channel, for you in case you're interested in like doing refinishing. All right, guys, bye for now.